Welcome to Reread. Today I'm going to review Tales from Mos Eisley, the comic book. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I reviewed this last time. I don't know where I put it in the timeline because I couldn't find it. But I would definitely put it probably before the novelization. It could have happened at any time. It's just Tales from Mos Eisley, random tales. Tales that are grim and scary in a way. And I really enjoyed it. More than I did, I think, the first time through. But there's 3 short stories in here. One is called Light Duty. Basically, a man takes a position with the Empire on a planet that fogs over, and so he has to turn on a lighthouse to make sure the ships, it's a prison planet, so the ships can bring prisoners to the planet they can see. But every time it gets dark or the fog rolls in and he has to man his position, there's a beautiful woman at the window trying to get in, and it looks like she's freezing. And he's trying to get her in, and there's a big message saying, warning, do not open this door, when on duty or whatnot. And they automatically locked it. It'll unlock once the sun comes out and he can't find her anymore. But he sees these women, these beautiful statues of women on the planet. Now obviously those are the same women he's seen come to life at night or during the fog. And what it turns out to be, these women are like these jelly creatures that, the sun kind of dries them out, and that's why they're stone statues. And then when the fog comes, the humidity, or night comes, the humidity kind of thaws them back out, and then they can go and they're looking for food. And they're basically like sirens trying to tempt him to come outside so they can eat him. And he sees them eat a group of prisoners that hit the planet. He thinks, oh man, I got to get out of here. This is a death trap. And so he gets tricked because one dresses up in a lot of clothing, a head and everything, to hide themselves from the sun, gets into the lighthouse, comes, undresses before him and then turns into the blob monster. But then he gets away and he lives to tell the tale, to the cantina. It's nice. It's like an old spooky ghost story. The next one was one of my favorites always. This one is called Mostly Automatic. And this one, Tim Chesko goes on his first mission out into space and his engines blow out, and now it's going to take him 52 years to get back to civilization from the point he's at. And he's so upset he may not even be alive back then. He's going to be 80 something by then. He's like, oh no. So the first couple of years he's kind of going crazy. He smashes a bottle through a window or a cargo, and he finds there's a droid inside. So he activates the droid. The droid's name is Millie. Millie becomes his companion, not romantic companion, but she's kind of like the housewife, cleaning up, cooking food for him, celebrating birthdays. They're having good times together. They go on adventures together. He's missing his old gal, and he keeps looking at her picture, and that makes Millie sad because she thinks that, oh, he doesn't love me. So they kind of love each other. And as he gets older, his heart gets worse. So it looks like he's not going to make it, or back to the planet in time. He's going to be dead. And so he asked Millie to go ahead and, fulfill that cargo that he promised one day he'd deliver on time, or deliver. And, his heart's just too bad now. And the cantina guy goes, wait a minute. Well, what if you were supposed to die on the ship? How are you still alive? He went, because Millie will always be with me in my heart. And he opens up his chest, and she had basically took her spare parts and put them in him so he could stay alive. His body could stay alive. He was like 90 years old. Kind of creepy and morbid, but nice, nice. All these stories are, Tales from Mos Eisley is not that bad at all. The last one is Heggs Tail, probably the weakest of the 3 here. Hegg has found a Grump's egg, and the Grump's egg is supposed to be like nectar of the gods. And he offers him, he said, I'll give you a drink of the egg if you give me a drink of your whiskey or rye or whatever. And so he said, well, Spacer, tell me the tale. And the tale is he came across a nest, but then saw a young man being chased by a Grump. It passes right next to him. It just goes after the young man, not him. Whenever he shoots it, his lasers go through it. He's thinking, what's going on? And then he realizes he's looking at the future. It's some kind of time rift. So he shoots an egg, which destroys, that egg grows up to be that Grump. Destroying the egg destroys the Grump, and it saves the young boy. Who's the young boy? It's him in the past. So because the time rift is all weird. And so the space like, wait a minute. So you shot a Grump in the future to save yourself in the past? That doesn't make any sense. He went, well, it is what it is. Time rifts happen all the time. And so he drinks from the egg. The guy drinks from the egg and spits it out. And he's like, oh, this is terrible. And he goes, that's what I've heard. Never tasted it myself. Ha ha ha. And basically, probably the guy's a big liar. There is no time rift. He's just lying. None of his story makes sense. The story's kind of, like I said, it's the weakest of the three. But it can be easily determined that he was just making up that story, and there is no time jumps or time rifts or whatever. And it reminded me of those, Alan Moore comic books that were really strange, which I'm going to review again. But kind of weird, kind of strange. The first two stories are pretty good. I don't know how hard this is to find, and it may be included in one of the Wild Space omnibuses. I feel like it is. So if you can track it down, like I said, it's fun. It's fun. Some classic tales of horror is what they are. And, it's worth the reread. But what about the novel? Maybe I'll talk about that next time.